What's up, guys? Today we're going to be comparing the S10 5G to the iPhone 14 Pro. I promised I would do this comparison. I have a few more comparisons to do as well. If you do have any comparisons, if I actually have the phone, I will go ahead and do those for you guys. I have a lot of people that on this channel that are switching to Android, and some people are switching to iPhone. So it's pretty interesting because mostly on a lot of other channels, people are super brand loyal, but you guys can sort of flip-flop between the two. So let's go ahead and talk about it. S10 5G, excellent older flagship phone. You can go that route, save a lot of money. iPhone 14 Pro, $1,000. You can get the the new flagship experience. So hardware wise, both these phones are beautifully designed. They both glass and metal. They're both IP68 dust and water resistant. The S10 5G is a bigger phone, and honestly, they kind of look almost the same in thickness. Maybe the iPhone's a little bit thicker. But the big difference here with the hardware is that you still have an old school headphone jack on the S10 5G, which is a big turn on for a lot of people if you still really like that. But the S10 5G does lose the SD card support as well too, unfortunately. But if you do want SD card support, check out the S10 Plus video I did as well. That has the headphone jack and the SD card support. Alright, so for hardware, like I said, they're both really solid. S10 5G feels way more comfortable in the hand. It's not as boxy as the iPhone's sharp edges as well too. But they both feel really good, look really good. I do like the matte finish on the iPhone as well too. It doesn't pick up fingerprints like the S10 does. Alright, so let's go ahead and talk about the displays on here. So what a lot of people don't know is that the iPhone still has a somewhat outdated display. As you can see, the S10 5G had the pill shape way before the iPhone had this pill shape dynamic island thing. Now I do like the dynamic island. I like what Apple did with the software here, but yeah, so they both have the same kind of cutout. So if you do decide to switch or whatever, like I said, it'll feel the same essentially. As far as the screen resolution, the S10 5G does have a much better resolution here. It is a full 1440p display on here. It's at 6.7 inches, 502 for the PPI, and it's just a much bigger display. Like I said, it is dynamic AMOLED. The iPhone does have an OLED display, it's LTPO, but the iPhone does have an advantage of having 120 Hz, and it is a much brighter display at 2000 nits peak brightness as well too. So it's definitely brighter than the S10 5G in terms of just direct sunlight outdoors as well. So that's sort of the trade-off with the display. S10 5G, it does have the bigger, sharper resolution display, and then with the iPhone you do have still a very good display. It's 1080p plus, 460 for the PPI, 6.1 inches, but it does have that 120 Hz, so it just feels a little bit smoother when scrolling and stuff like that. So you kind of have to make that decision, and it's a little bit brighter. Go ahead and take a look at the Geekbench scores here. iPhone going to have much higher scores, Apple A16, and then you have 128 gigs and 6 gigs of RAM on here. The S10 5G has the Snapdragon 855 chip, which is still very capable as well too. It's running Android 12 as well, and this one has 256 gigs and 8 gigs of RAM on it. And as far as speed on both of these two phones are pretty fast. Now I will say, for gaming performance, I've done a gaming test on both of these. You will probably get better gaming performance on the iPhone 14 for sure if you're in extreme, or I would say if you're actually like a gamer that plays games like Genshin Impact and stuff like that that use up a lot of power. You're probably going to get more consistent frame rates on the iPhone for sure, because you just have that extra power there. But as far as just your general usage, both these phones, as you guys saw, were pretty much on par with each other in terms of speed here. If I go ahead and launch PUBG here, they both actually play PUBG at the same exact settings, HDR Extreme, and they both do a really good job with that. So as far as the just the basic speed of these two phones, the Snapdragon 855 is still very efficient. You can see the iPhone just blazing fast. Gets into PUBG really quickly. S10 5G right behind it. Go ahead and launch a game so I can show you guys these graphics. But yeah, both phones are still very capable. Like I said, I do have a gaming test for the S10 5G. It actually does play Genshin really well as well too, if you guys want to check that out. Go ahead and show you guys. And we are on HDR Extreme. So if you are looking for an older flagship phone that can actually do some pretty good gaming, I always recommend these phones to people because they do a much better job than anything that Samsung's going to put out as far as their budget phones. This blows the like a Galaxy A53 out of the water in terms of graphic performance. So you just be able to play games much better. Like I said, the iPhone pretty much the same as far as playing PUBG. They both do a really good job of just being super smooth here. So I think that's something that is really awesome about the S10 5G. All right, so let's go ahead and check out the speakers on both these phones. We're at max volume. S10 5G speakers, just amazingly crazy loud, just excellent sounding. Honestly, some of Samsung's best speakers actually. Yeah, the S10 5G is definitely louder. Yeah, it's just louder and more full, which is awesome because the iPhone 14 Pro speakers are really good. But I'm telling you, these are some of Samsung's best speakers. I don't know what happened. They haven't like I literally have been listening to all of the other older Samsung flagship speakers. These are just crazy good. Yeah, it's just louder, it's just more fuller, hits harder. So S10 5G speakers are no joke. They are excellent. All right, so let's go ahead and go over a few other things here as far as your additional features here. Let's talk about some additional features here. With the S10 5G, we do have the fingerprint scanner, and it is really fast, but we can also take advantage of face unlock on this phone too. So we get a 2-method option here. With the iPhone, we only get that 1-method Face ID, which is going to be more secure than the Face ID in the S10. But like I said, you don't have any type of fingerprint scanner on the iPhone. Both these phones have NFC. And the S10 5G, you are going to be giving up, like, I think Samsung desktop support is a really cool feature as well. You do have reverse wireless charging on the S10 5G, secure folders. So those are some like features that you would kind of be giving up there, right? But yeah, so I do want to go ahead and talk about the cameras because I think this is a big reason why people might consider upgrading. All right guys, so it really comes down to how you guys feel about these side-by-side stills. I'll go over the specs for you guys. So with the iPhone, 48 megapixel standard, 12 megapixel telephoto, that's 3x optical. Then we also have a 12 megapixel ultra wide, and then we also have a macro mode, shoots in 4K 60 on the front and back. Then we have a 12 megapixel selfie cam on here as well. With the S10 5G, it is a 12 megapixel standard, 12 megapixel telephoto, 2x optical zoom, 16 megapixel ultra wide, and then a 0.3 depth sensor on here as well too. It shoots in 4K 60 also on the front and back. And then we also have a 10 megapixel selfie cam. So check out these side-by-side stills and let me know, what do you guys think? Alright guys, here's the video on the iPhone. Here's our 2x. We also have a 3x. And then we also have our 0.5 as well. Alright guys, here's the video on the S10 5G. Here's our 2x. And then here's our 0.5. Alright guys, so lastly, the battery life experience. Both these phones actually can give you a full day of battery life. The iPhone with a 3200 milliamp hour battery, it can do wireless charging and the MagSafe charging on here as well too. The S10 5G does have a 4500 milliamp battery, and then you have 25-watt charging, but this can do the wireless and reverse wireless charging as well, which is something the iPhone cannot do. So basically, both these phones easily can go all day, well over 6 hours of screen on time. So that is pretty much it, guys. Be sure to let me know what you guys thought, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.